Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to week 13 of the Locker Room College Football. I'm joined with my handler, Will Compton. Also on the show will be the commissioner himself, Josh Pate. Let's look into the games today. Come on. We're going to have number 22, Mizzou, at number 8, Oklahoma. Then we're going to have Pitt at Georgia Tech. Now, fun thing about this game is I studied for Louisville SMU for 2 hours last night. Got a text at 6 a.m. said we're moving that to Pitt, Georgia Tech. That's going to be a fun one to go over. Then we got number 20, Tennessee at Florida. November, swamp, very interesting time of year. The Tennessee fans, they're shaking in their boots a little bit. One loss, BYU plays at Cincinnati. They've dropped their last two. And then USC at Oregon will be the true classic game of the week. Let's get into the standings. Hey, sorry. Will Compton, 2-3. He's almost as consistent as Josh Pate, who has gone 2-3 the last 6 weeks in a row. With gout and what I have going on in my body, it shut off everything. For whatever reason, my brain is working correctly when you come to picking these games. I am 3-2 and 30-32 overall this year. We got a hell of a show for you guys today. Please do me a favor, subscribe and leave comments. It helps us so much and it doesn't hurt you at all. Let's have a great show. Will? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Locker Room is presented by FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook. Before we get into things, we just want to remind you that gambling is for entertainment, and FanDuel always has your back with tons of responsible gaming tools to make sure your play stays fun and stress-free. Check out the FanDuel.com/RG or the responsible gaming section in the app to learn more about staying in control of your game.
Let's talk about the Bussin With The Boys profit boost token.
Can we? We got a few easy steps for you guys. First, you're going to opt into the PBT, that's Profit Boost Token, for those of you who don't know acronyms. Then you're going to cook up a college football parlay, or you can ride with the boys in our our parlay of this Saturday. Last, you will place a bet and see a nice boost to your potential winnings.
We've got someone here that turned that potential into reality with their parlay.
12 legs turned into $14,000.
I need to hit one of those so badly.
It's like
I had a 13 leg. What did I call last week? Like a 13 leg banger. Monsoon. It was dead in the first 3 legs.
That's the thing about monsoons, man. You know how long monsoons last on average?
The entirety of the Iowa USC game. That's how long monsoons last.
Monsoons, as we talked about last week, do not happen in Southern California.
A lot of rain, though.
A lot of rain.
Way different than a monsoon,
Way
obviously.
different than a monsoon. Way different than a monsoon. But yeah, dude, 12 legs, $14,000. Like, if you're not just taking that profit boost token and just hawking guesses out there with a boost going up like this, I don't know what you're doing.
As always, we're letting you know that the best way to bet college football is with FanDuel, but you've got to make sure that you're using the Bussin With The Boys profit boost token each and every week. It is there for you on Saturday. Head to FanDuel.com/Bussin to learn more.
Oh, thank you.
I just figured I'd just flow.
Let's
just hit this last sentence for them
They're
real
just
quick.
kind of ripping them right now.
How we doing, man?
I'm not good. Bro, like, we're having fun, right? And this is content. And it's like, we're going to make the most out of a shitty situation when it comes to this stuff. But I'm truly in hell. Like, I don't think people understand too that you're right. Like, content, there's bits, there's this and that. Right.
It's as bad as it looks for you.
Yeah, it is.
And it's slowly gotten that much worse. Like, you've talked about it on Bussin at length.
Yeah, like I truly, like, I don't know what to think of my life right now. I don't know what's happening. I've talked about on Bussin how I used to be this and now I'm that. But here's where I am questioning myself and my toughness. And Josh, this is a story for you. These guys have all heard this story already. 2 nights ago, I was sleeping. I haven't had a good night of sleep in 3 weeks since this gout has started. I'm doing the thing where you're sleeping and your body is telling you, hey, you gotta pee, but you're still pretending like you're asleep as if you're gonna trick your body into thinking, we'll just wait till the morning.
I do that all the time.
All
and
the time.
I pee a little bit.
Yeah,
I
you
actually
do.
did the other night.
Did you really?
Yeah, but it was very small.
But you've done it before, yeah?
Not in the last several weeks, but yes, I can
But
relate.
yeah,
I
but
can
you've
relate.
been in the
Will
situation.
just said he peed himself like the other night.
Yeah, no, we're
That's
gonna.
so. That's
very
like-
small. It was
that
very-
is-
it was very
that is-
small.
That's a Will
But even
Compton.
still,
Yeah, but I'm not far away from that. Like that's Will's that's his level 1. Like he is there. That's Will's baseline is like peeing a little bit in the bed. Which shout out Charo for doing the sheets all the time. So anyway, I go to get out of bed and I stand up and I just fall to the ground. And obviously I have a bad right knee. I crawl on all my hands and knees to the bathroom to go and take a piss. And I pick myself up onto the toilet, sit down to pee, and then crawl back to go to bed, only to have my 15-year-old dog, who is deaf, dumb, and blind, kind of like tapping her little foot at the door till she has to go out and pee too. We're synced up at this point. So I, hands and knees, crawl over. I'm in my underwear by myself. I open the door, let her out, and then I'm screaming for her at 1:30 in the morning. Just please come back. And I'm on hands and knees, banging on the window. She can hear something, but she doesn't know where it's coming from. So that's essentially where my life is at this point.
Do you guys have security camera stuff set up in your house?
Yeah.
So that exists? Footage of that exists?
It could. It absolutely could.
Well, the reason I mentioned that is I feel terrible for you. We've established that. I kissed you off camera this morning.
You did.
That's
I
how
wasn't
bad.
going to bring it up. You brought it up. I'm glad you did.
That's how bad I feel. What I'm trying to say is you said that you're here and we got to create content. Those are your words, not mine.
Yeah.
So I think we know where we could go with that.
Here's where the issue is those cameras that are outside, you're going to see a door open and you're going to see a dog run out, and then you're just going to see a door moving a little bit because someone's banging on it.
But I mean, you've
not
got kids.
outside.
I thought you may have the indoor surveillance stuff set up.
Not in my master bedroom. Could though. Get a little extra home movie.
And you're saying the door where you let the dog out was from your bedroom?
Yeah, so my master bedroom, it has a door that goes to the outside.
Yeah.
I opened that door and let the dog out, and then the dog eventually came back in, but I never peeked my head out.
You
There's
did
no
not
camera
crawl
in.
outside.
No. I stood where I had to be,
Gotcha.
as if I was also another dog, kind of just waiting for my dog friend to come back.
How close are you, do you think, to rails being installed in the home, parking in different parking spots, that sort of thing?
If the option was given to me to have one of those cool handicap stickers,
Let's not call it cool.
okay. If the option was given to me, the luxury of having
Let's not call it a luxury either. Let's just call it a detail.
If I was able to have a handicap sticker, I would take it, and I would be very grateful to have that. Very grateful.
Because
to
I can
have
get
that.
you one by lunch.
Can you really?
Yeah, I can get you one
There's
of
not
those
a whole
luxuries.
lot you can't get me.
How awesome would it be to be handicapped? I can do
Yeah.
it by lunch. Yeah, we could do that.
I am handicapped, dude.
We got to stay in the handicap room tonight when we go up to New York.
Ask Clump.
Oh.
Clump
We had
saw
to
me
make a call.
yesterday. Will was filming For the Dads before we had to do Kay Adams yesterday. And I was laying on the couch after I got blood work done. And Will walks in and goes, "That bad, huh?" I'm like, "Yes, dude. It's miserable. Just sitting up. Right now, I am in pain right now." Clump, my wife comes to pick me up yesterday, starts talking about, hey, he's acting a little like this and that. Some experiences that I've had have kind of been like this. Maybe you should get him checked out for being septic. And talks Taylor into taking me to the hospital yet again. So 2 weeks in a row
I heard.
going to the hospital.
That sounds like the kind of thing where 10 years from now, when you're giving an inspirational talk to middle schoolers, and it's your survival story, that's chapter 1. Jeremy Clump saved my life.
Yeah.
Jeremy Clump is the reason I'm here speaking to you children today.
I'm hoping at this point, at the end of the day, I don't care what the news is. I just want an answer for what's going on. Because I go to the hospital yesterday and he's like, "Who said this was gout?" I was like, "I said this was gout."
WebMD, buddy.
I said
WebMD said this was gout.
No, I've had gout before and it felt the exact same as gout. So therefore, it's gout in my head. He's like, "Gout does not last for 3 weeks." And then he started to get concerned about the possible infection I have going on. But this morning, shout out Derek, he's not in here right now, but he got me this wheelchair. And it's so much help, dude. But I've been in hell. I'm truly in hell.
Yeah.
It's awful.
T's and P's.
Yeah, T's and P's, man.
Thanks, man.
Thoughts and prayers in the chat for our fallen soldier. Still operating, though.
Still operating.
3-2 last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
You feeling good about the games this weekend?
Kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, I said it in the intro. I took about 2 hours last night and read up on Louisville at SMU.
When we were talking about the Louisville SMU game, I got that same text at 6 this morning. I'm like, I'm down to do that. I don't even know why we were talking about Louisville SMU anyway.
He texted me and said, Will and Pate are good with this. And I just looked at it and I was like,
He must have started with Pate because he's like, Pate's good with this. All right.
So he texts me and I look at it on my phone. I'm like, I don't know if it's because I'm in pain that's pissing me off that I'm getting this text 2 hours before our show starts, or I'm actually pissed off. So I'm just going to leave it on red and just keep fighting the good fight.
We're getting that much closer to the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
With the rankings dropping last night. We are just, that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready to see some chaos. There's not a whole lot of chaos potential, I feel like, this weekend outside of USC, Oregon. Don't sleep on Mizzou in Oklahoma. But other than that, like, I'm ready to get more, just ready to get in that mode.
Do you think there's an upset alert with Mizzou and Oklahoma?
I think there very well could be.
All right, talk to me. Introduce that game. Wait, hold on. Should we check in on Pate? See how he's doing?
Yeah, how are you doing since the rankings came out last night? I heard you kind of talking about let's say there's a clip I saw about them getting in some hot water with Notre Dame, Miami.
There's a lot of potential. I think there's a potential catastrophe, like right on the horizon.
Here's the question I would ask you. Is it a catastrophe just because the way they started ranking Notre Dame, they would just look dumb because they had them start so high, and then all they've done is win out the rest of the season, then they've slowly trickled down, and then once they get in that, what'd you call it, the pool?
The comparative pool.
The comparative pool, once they get in the comparative pool of Miami, then they get jumped by Miami for the at-large bid? Because at the end of the day, it would have still worked itself out.
It would have worked itself out. Look, my problem is not with the process. If you thoroughly explain the process, they're terrible at explaining the process. Like, do you really think a random person who lives in Des Moines, Iowa, who works a normal 9-to-5 job and is not like data minded, they just love college football and they watch the rankings on Tuesday night, do you really think they know the intricacies of the process that goes behind the rankings? Of course they don't. You can't expect your audience to know that. So what you got to do is you got to be really forthright. That's why on that ranking show, you got the numbers, you got the rankings, and you got Reese Davis talking with the committee chair for 5 minutes. The committee chair is now Hunter Yurachek because Mac Rhodes, he's no longer there, and I'll let other people in the building talk about why he's no longer there if they want to. Hunter Yurachek was like sweating Crisco last night on camera talking about the rankings because he's ill-equipped to do it. It's not even his fault. He's running a full-time coaching search at Arkansas. And then all of a sudden he's stepping away to be put on live TV to explain numbers, which he's just not ready to do. So they put him on last night and he was talking about Miami Notre Dame. So remember when the rankings first came out, we talked about on the show how Miami's beaten Notre Dame, but Miami's 18th and Notre Dame's like 10th. And so there's enough gap between them where apparently the head-to-head just didn't matter. Well, it turns out that's not the case. They just hadn't thoroughly enough explained their process. Now, I'm about to explain it. It's going to be really quick. It's going to sound stupid because it is stupid. But the way they do it is they don't just stack all the teams 1 through 50 and just pick the top 25. And it's not a computer where they go crunch and the computer just spits out the rankings. They do they use what are called comparative pools. So they take like a cluster of 4 teams at a time, and then they rank those 4 teams in a row. Then they move to the next 4. Then they rank those 4 teams in a row. And what he was trying to say on TV last night as we're recording is the head-to-head actually hasn't had a chance to matter yet because we haven't had Notre Dame and Miami close enough to be placed in the same comparative pool, which means we've never put Miami and Notre Dame on the board at the same time, which means the head-to-head hasn't mattered. But unlike the first week of the rankings, if you watched the rankings last night, there were only like 4 spots separating Miami and Notre Dame. And it looks like Miami could keep climbing, and Notre Dame's done climbing because they play 2 terrible teams at the end of the year, so there's no way to further inflate their resume. They've also got like Utah, BYU, Alabama between them. Bama's either going to climb or fall. There's no way Bama finishes between them, it doesn't feel like. So Miami and Notre Dame are eventually going to be close enough, according to the committee's own process, where they're put on the board at the same time. If you put Miami and Notre Dame on the board at the same time, and their resumes are comparable, you got to value head-to-head. That's their protocol.
That's when they will value head-to-head. Miami will jump Notre Dame. That dude in Iowa watching TV just week after week screaming, saying, why do we just keep trickling down one by one? And now we're out of the playoff. When we've been in it the last 5 weeks I've watched this show.
Yes, and he would have a point because it's been terribly articulated to him. You're gonna have watched Notre Dame be ahead of Miami all year. All they did was keep winning. And then at the very end, someone's going to tell you Miami jumped Notre Dame because of head-to-head. To which your reasonable response would be, but you knew the head-to-head the whole time. It's not like we just played. We played 3 months ago. So why is the head-to-head all of a sudden just now mattering? It matters because of something called comparative pools.
And you don't know, were you using the example of 4 teams at a time just to set the stage or set the example, or do you know how many teams get in a comparative pool?
I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe I saw a screenshot of like a protocol from the committee's website where it's like 3 or 4 teams. I think, but if you just do the math, if one of them's 9 and one of them's 13, and they're telling me they still haven't been put in the same comparative pool, it's got to be less than 4. It's got to be 3 or 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the mess. And then the other mess is Alabama's sitting at number 10 right now. And so I'm wondering, all right, if Alabama beats Auburn and then wins the SEC championship game, are they going to jump all the way back up into the top 4 and get a first round bye? Because if they don't, you're really sabotaging your conference championship games. Because people, I was in Athens last week.
Right, as far as that game mattering.
They're already saying at Georgia, we don't want to play in Atlanta. I'm not talking about Kirby. I'm talking about like their fan base. I was down there last week. I found way more people who were totally comfortable being the 5 seed than actually wanted to be top 4, let's go to Atlanta. And the same thing could be said at a place like Ole Miss. You think Ole Miss wants to go to Atlanta? They're set up to have an off week the first week of December and then a home playoff game. They'd love that. So you're already dealing with that if you're a conference and you are making tons of money off these conference title games, but that's all contingent on them mattering. Right. To maintain the value of those conference championship games, you got to incentivize playing in them and winning them. And if Bama goes to Atlanta, wins it, and doesn't jump into the top 4, you have reinforced some of the thinking that has started to permeate through the Big Ten, through the SEC. It'd just get turned up to 11 at that point.
So would the answer be we're not going to do conference championship games anymore?
I think not only that, I think people would revolt. I think people would just openly say, we don't even want to play in it. Mm-hmm. If I were the SEC, like I would look at it, frankly.
You're the college football commissioner. When you are, what's this going to look like?
Ooh, buddy, that we don't have long enough today. We do have to break down games. I would be very, very transparent about the selection process. You've got an idea about your own G5 playoff, which I've advocated for a ton of times, and I think we ought to explore it, but you got to responsibly explore it. You can't just say no G5 team.
And okay, yes. So like creating a separate G5 playoff.
Yes.
Yeah, I am fully on board with that.
But you got to have the money there.
So like an NIT?
No, not an NIT.
I think NIT would be electric as well. People are sleeping on the NIT tournament.
But what schools are going to go and do that? Because you see all these players now, if you're not in the playoffs, they're all sitting out. They're not doing
No, you're right. This is more of the fan talking, just having another tournament out there. Like that, when Bussin put the graphic together, what the tournament could look like, it's like these games could be
sick,
just as exciting to watch as the main tournament.
But think about the state of college football, or the landscape of it right now. Right now, we're supposed to pretend 136 teams are playing the same sport. Mm-hmm. Of course, they're not. Like Michigan and UL Monroe have never played the same sport. But for the playoff purposes, we're just supposed to believe that. Even though everyone in the room knows the deal, we're supposed to believe that because once upon a time, someone upset someone. So we're supposed to believe, yeah, man, USF could go to Tuscaloosa or Athens or Lubbock or something as a 3-touchdown dog. It's irrelevant because it doesn't even make sense. Mm-hmm. Like the proper way to construct college football would be to have certain teams that are roughly the same size, spend roughly the same amount, recruit roughly the same kind of talent, have roughly the same kind of resources, competing for a championship. And then have teams, mainly would be your G5s, that would compete for their own championship, but also you still got to subsidize them. Like if you gave me my option, I would let the G5 ranks take the same cut of revenue that they currently take from the college football playoff, but just build their own playoff and have their own TV deal with it. I mean, the MAC gets money to play games on weeknights. You don't think that the G5 ranks would get enough money on a playoff contract to like build their own system? I firmly believe they would. Mm-hmm. People have just pushed back on it, and I've never heard an actual good reason. I've heard reasons, they're just not good reasons.
So maybe we live in a world like in high school sports where there's like 1A, 2A, 3A, and then the biggest schools, like who are paying $50 million per roster, they all live in the biggest district, and then we go by money. Who's putting in the most? This is the district you're going to live in.
Yeah, and if you want to say, well, that cuts us off, I would say, well, then I'm totally comfortable with a promotion and relegation system. Because as much as Tulane should earn the right or be able to earn the right to climb up in ranks, if you perennially suck and you penny pinch and you don't spend money, then you ought to fall down the ladder. I got no problem with a promotion relegation mechanism within that. It just makes no sense right now. Like, let's just be real. You don't have to be crapping on Tulane to understand a way better team's about to have a shot taken from them, because we baked in a mechanism wherein a G5 team has to have a spot in the playoff.
Right.
We keep on having the rankings, and then FanDuel sends us the hypothetical lines, and they're like 3 games where the point spread would be 3 or 4 or 5. And then there's one where the point spread is like 21.5 in the first round. It's obvious one of those things is not like the other.
Right.
And then you got some guy comes and tells you, well, point spreads don't matter, and so-and-so upset so-and-so one time as a big underdog.
Yeah, it's
Like,
always the Boise State Fiesta Bowl debacle. Well,
Yeah.
our thing on Bussin was, or my thing on Bussin was, if you're going to be a G5 team that makes it, you have to be undefeated. Not only undefeated, but you have to like win these games by multiple scores.
Not only undefeated, you got
Yeah, you've got to show something like incredible if you think you're going to go compete against some of those other schools, because then it is allow you to be like a Boise State or some of these schools that are upsetting, or what was it, UCF that went 12-0 and they just decided they're a national championship team.
right with Scott Frost before he went to Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yeah, to where you have an undefeated year, because what is it? Who is it? North Texas or Tulane who lost to UTSA?
they've all got
Tulane.
losses now, yeah.
Yeah.
You see Summerall too. I loved his. He had a post-practice presser yesterday talking about how average his team has looked at times.
He's been totally honest.
He's
been
the
totally honest about
I
his
love
team.
the transparency.
Yeah. Last thing before we get into the games, playoffs. You talked about in your show last night. Everyone's talking about a 24. Is the game plan here? Hey, we're gonna say, hey, why don't we do a 24 team playoff just to land on 16? Is that kind of the, hey, we're gonna do this? Everyone freaks out. Then you go to 16. Everyone's like, okay, that makes sense.
So negotiation tactic, basically. Maybe, but it sounds like the Big Ten really wants that 24 team.
For real.
They're really, like, I thought initially what you thought. I floated that to a Big Ten athletic. It was Pat Kraft. I floated it to Pat Kraft. Pat Kraft said, no, that's not what we're doing here. Because I had just done a show where I talked about that. Then I went up to Penn State, and he was standing on the practice field. I talked to him about it. He was like, no, that's kind of not what we're doing though. Like we really think there's a lot of merit behind this model. I of course disagree, but at least he was honest with me.
In their shoes, what's the merit for
They
a
think
24
they think the
because that seems
oxygen-
insane to
Well,
do.
first
It would be
off,
awesome for the viewer. Like, how awesome would that be?
But it really
to be-
wouldn't be.
Yeah, but
it really wouldn't
Why
be.
not?
Because
It
think
wouldn't be.
about
More football.
More football,
more football,
is like
but
more money.
meaningless regular season games.
Totally
Fair.
meaningless. Totally. Texas.
Like then you'd be starting to think like, okay, somebody, we could rest certain guys in certain games.
Yeah, then it
Like
starts to
truly
get-
regular season games get very diluted.
My big fear was when we expanded to 12 that was going to happen. But it really has not happened to the degree I was scared it would happen.
12's been awesome,
So
yeah.
we're good at 12. So my biggest fears were not realized. Fingers were crossed, biggest fears not realized. If you move to 24, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about here, like Texas is squarely in a 24-team playoff with room to lose another game. If we're talking about a 24-team playoff. So think about the urgency that is removed from that Texas-Georgia game last week. The best commodity college football has, to me, is regular season games. So I got to come at it from that position. If you're a playoff guy, if you're the kind of person who says, like college basketball, I start watching in March, or in football, I start watching in December. You probably don't feel the way I do. But if you're a big fan of regular season, like fall Saturdays, and that's the most precious thing, you got to protect that thing. This is really easy to see, like they want more money. So a bigger playoff would print more money for them. These are not people who share the same sentiment about college football being great that I would, or you would, or you would. They don't necessarily care about the fall Saturday stuff. They look at P&L, they look at KPI, they look at the kind of stuff you would hear in a boardroom, which is okay. I just don't prefer those kinds of people having their hands on the wheel of college football. The last two big ideas the Big Ten have totally sucked. Michigan and USC stood up to one of them and put a kibosh for the time being on the private equity money infusion.
Yeah, I still don't fully understand that whole thing.
You don't need to, it's just terrible. So then the second thing is,
Yes.
hey, if we can't get that, then let's expand the playoff to 24. It also looks like that's going to crash and burn. I watched for quite a while Kevin Warren be one of the worst power conference commissioners I'd ever seen. And so when the Big Ten replaced Kevin Warren, I thought, hey, nowhere to go but up. I can't even tell the difference. So that's where we are right now.
I have one last one because as we were talking about the college football playoff, the SEC championship in particular, like seeing that Alabama they're more likely going to be in the SEC championship. And I agree with you. It's like if they win the SEC championship, they take down top 4 team in A&M, like valuing the SEC champion and the wins that Alabama has on their resume would warrant a top 4 seed. My question would be, if they go into the SEC championship and they lose, they're out of it, yeah?
There's no way. There's no way. I could not see it. There's no way to let it happen. They didn't let it happen to SMU last year.
SMU lost and they ended up a 2-loss team.
But what I'm saying is a 2-loss Alabama would still be viewed above and beyond a 1-loss SMU because of the conference they went through and because of the number of ranked teams they played. So if Alabama, like what you're saying to paint the picture for people who aren't like thinking with the rankings board in their head, Bama's 10 right now.
Right.
They beat Auburn. I don't know if they would climb or not. Let's say they climbed to 9, but they're 9 or 10. So they're right there on the bubble.
They'll probably jump Notre Dame.
But let's say they do. So let's say they're number 9.
Yeah, the Notre Dame Miami stuff.
You're saying they go to Atlanta as the 9 seed. So they're in the playoff bubble as they go to Atlanta in the conference championship game in the SEC.
Yeah.
So they've earned the right to play an extra game. Ole Miss sits at home that week. Georgia sits at home that week just knowing they're safe in the playoff. Alabama loses that extra game they earned the right to be in. And some are saying, and you're floating the scenario, they fall out because they have another loss. And what I'm telling you is the kind of the same point I was making a little while ago. If they win the game and they're not put in the top 4, you greatly diluted the value of your conference title game. Even if one of your participants loses the game, if they drop out of the playoff because they lost a game they earned the right to play in, you have completely, like you've taken a blowtorch to your conference championship game. And what the point I was making is SMU was in that spot last year. SMU played a way weaker schedule last year than Bama. That's why I would say a 1-loss SMU, 2-loss Alabama are comparable. SMU went in the ACC title game right on the bubble. And they lost to Clemson. And going into Selection Sunday, that was the big talking point. Are they going to drop SMU behind Bama or Ole Miss or South Carolina? And they didn't even drop them. So no, I've seen a lot of people agree with you. I would have to see that to believe it. There's just no way I could see that.
I'm not saying.
You're not saying it's right. You're saying it could happen.
Right, yeah. Right. Just because where my brain goes, like, let's just, if you pretend that Vandy wins out, they're a 2-loss team. You got Oklahoma, if they went out, they're a 2-loss
You could have USC there. You could have Oregon there. You could have a bunch of Notre Dame. Like, there's a logjam potentially of 2-loss teams. Brigham Young could be there. Utah could be there. I'm saying, like, I know someone's got to make it and a bunch of people have to be left out.
That's more so that's more where I'm coming from, is they would have a 3-loss. And, obviously we're playing a bunch of hypotheticals right now.
But it's only 2 weeks away.
Realistically, if everybody else stays course, you're looking at Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. Then you're looking at Vandy, Georgia.
I don't know the Vandy's guaranteed if they win out.
I'm saying in the scenario that Bama goes and loses the SEC championship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're talking about the teams they'd be fighting against?
Yeah, you'd have 4 SEC teams. You'd have 2 that are 2-loss.
Could be Miami up there, too.
Yeah.
Michigan.
Because you're going to have the ACC champion in there.
Michigan could be up there.
Oh, absolutely.
Michigan could be up there.
Yeah, it creates a hole. Do you guys go to the Big Ten championship if you beat Ohio State?
I think it has to do with if USC beats Oregon this week. I think the answer to that is no.
Because then USC has the...
I think they have the tiebreaker.
Yeah, because they'd be a 2-loss. That's right. You're right.
But if Oregon beats USC, we have the tiebreak over Ohio State because we're only 1 loss in our conference. I could be getting that wrong.
I don't know about the Big Ten tiebreaker.
I was going to say...
If there's a 3-way...
Would Oregon get back?
No,
if Oregon beats USC, they're still a 1-loss team. They lost to Indiana. They're still a 1-loss team in the Big Ten.
There's a world where USC, Michigan, and Ohio State are all 1-loss Big Ten teams because Michigan's other loss is Oklahoma. Oregon would be a 2-loss team there, 2-loss Big Ten team. So they're not going.
Right.
You're asking so we got the tiebreaker of Ohio State.
Yeah.
Ohio State has a tiebreaker of I don't know. So I don't know the Big Ten tiebreaker scenarios, but if Oregon wins this weekend and then you guys go beat Ohio State, all of a sudden you're in Indy. And we're asking the same question that he was asking about Alabama,
I think that's
Michigan.
way more interesting because Alabama, I think there's... You can easily see them staying in it. But with a Michigan team who's been inconsistent this year, we're sitting around the 18th. Like, we're far away from the bubble.
How much do you jump
towards the bubble?
If you beat Ohio State, that's the best win. That's the best win of the year.
The top 10. Like, you like 10, 9, 8.
Then that's the same question.
6, 7.
If you jump to number 10.
I think 6, 7 is a little too far.
That's true.
But I think you're 10-9-8 kind of situation. You play Indiana. Let's say you lose to Indiana. Let's say you lose by double digits to Indiana.
But you were in the top 10
But you're in the
going
top
into the
10.
game. You're not dropping out.
See, that's where it's going
That's
to be
crazy.
chaos. I
I'm
love the
giving
cinema.
the worst case. Like you beat Ohio State, go to the Big Ten championship, and you lose that game
By double digits, there's just
multiple touchdowns. Like
Yep.
where it's like, oh, these teams are not in the same world.
You can't let it happen if you want to maintain the sanctity value, whatever you want to say, of
Because
your
if you're in the
conference
same
title game.
position next year and you look at Michigan, you're like, well, we don't want to play in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah,
then.
well, you're looking at your conference commissioners and your league ADs, and you're saying, so wait, you're telling me if we had just been Georgia or Ole Miss, or if we had just been Oregon or any of our at-large teams, and we had just not been good enough to get to the conference title game, it would have been better for us? If you say yes, why do I even show up to play a conference title game?
Yeah.
Like, why don't I boycott the game? Why would I even go? Why would my fan base want to be there? Why would my players want to be there? You're going to punish us for earning a reward. That's really what you're doing.
Yeah.
So if we want maximum chaos in college football, we need Michigan and Bama both going to their championship games and losing, and then sitting back and seeing what Selection Sunday looks like.
And you want what you
Indiana
also
hasn't
want.
seen a defense like Michigan.
You want Miami to win. You want Miami to blow out Pitt, so that you could have the comparison, the comparative pool comparison with your Notre Dame, Miami.
Notre Dame.
Also, what would help is if BYU is in the top 10 and they go to the Big 12 championship game and lose, because that could be 3 of them. It could be Bama, Michigan, and Brigham Young all in the same situation.
Just a gun to the committee.
Yeah.
What decisions are you going to make? All right, let's dive in, boys.
Let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
How long has it been?
33 minutes into the show. we're
Okay,
getting
so
the
we
first
got to
game.
kind of rip. We got to kind of go.
It's a
here.
light week. We're
Light
good.
Yeah, it's a light week.
It's a
We
light
got no disrespect, Pitt, Georgia Tech.
Some disrespect.
Okay.
You were added 14 minutes ago.
Yeah, I did disrespect them a few. Michelob Ultra. Superior is worth playing for. A couple weeks ago, I was sitting there and I was 2-3 matches down against Will Compton. Now I'm 7-6. So we will now play for our Michelob Ultra. This is the highlight of my week every single week. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You know where you're going?
I'm going to go rock.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
8-6.
I would have felt bad. Like you were in a wheelchair, I would have felt bad. So I
No,
was like, I
that's-
just got to tell you what.
That's a classic. I think George Kittle talked about that on our podcast, how he's like, you tell people what they're going, it gets in their mind so much that they go the opposite and you still do what you said you were going to do.
I was literally thinking I'm going to throw rock.
Hey, I see that now. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer.
Missouri goes to Oklahoma. Right now, Oklahoma is favored by 7.5. The over-under on this game is 42.5. Taylor, what do you got here?
Oh, I'm going to take Oklahoma. When you look at both these teams, what does Missouri do so well? They run the ball incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma is the number 2 defense in all of college football, rush defense.
Yep.
So when I look at those two things, I believe, I'm not using this correctly, this is a crowbar theory type that could happen in this game. Where Missouri walks in, their hopes and dreams of a playoff is over, and quickly they find out that this defense is really good, and they could just be like, you know what? Maybe not consciously, but subconsciously, they bend the knee to this type of situations. I think John Mateer has played better. I think getting a win over Alabama, there's 2 things that can happen when you get a win over Alabama. You can drink the Kool-Aid way too much and sleep on that win and ends up in a loss this week against Missouri. Or you can say, oh, we are a legitimate playoff contending team now. We have to go finish the way we're supposed to finish the rest of the year. John Mateer has gotten better. That Oklahoma defense is incredible. And I think Oklahoma's best matches up well with Missouri's best. Bo Prabula, they're saying he may or may not play this week. I don't think that matters very much in the passing. Statistically, passing, Missouri's in the hundreds. So I don't think that changes a whole lot. They did a good job
If Bo was playing, I think it changes big time because Zoller's like, he couldn't. One thing
we talked about him in Pennsylvania.
Clump's been right about Zollers. He couldn't piss in a pool with a full bladder and nobody around. Like the guy has, you look at his box score in his games, it's tough. They are incredible running the football, top 10 rushing attack.
I'll be taking Oklahoma. -7.5.
Is Bo, do you know, are you like an Adam Schefter in the college football world?
No, I don't even have tattoos. I'm nowhere close to Schefter. I got nothing. I don't know if he's going to play. I think he may be a game time decision, but I agree. Like if he plays, or if he's good, if he's cleared to play, is it him starting? Like is it him playing all 70 snaps? I don't know that that's the case.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Like, I don't know how big the gap is. In other words, between QB1, QB2 at Missouri. There's a reason the guy was QB1. Yes, I trust him to throw the ball more, but their bread and butter, it's a term I hate, their only way to win this game is by running the ball. Hardy had 300 on the ground last week against Mississippi State. Now they finally clicked offensively a little bit. Mississippi State's probably mailed the season then. So
and their run defense has been
tough. We saw what Georgia
in the
did to
triple
them.
digits the entire year.
So I think a lot of people are wondering why this line is what it is. A lot of people looked at this and said they would have guessed Oklahoma minus double digits. I think the public would have guessed that. Missouri backup quarterback, playoff dreams out the window. Oklahoma just beat Bama. It's going to be a home game for Oklahoma. 7.5 is a low number. But I think what people need to realize is Missouri does a lot of stuff really good defensively too. And Oklahoma hasn't shown the ability to pull away in games offensively. So in a way, it's kind of the total inverse of last week's Oklahoma game. Oklahoma goes to Bama. And Oklahoma's great run defense. Bama can't run the ball anyway. So it's all about what Oklahoma can do against the pass. And Bama got theirs through the air, but it came with turnovers. So this week, team can't throw the ball to save their lives. It's all about, can we stand up against the run? There's no world where Missouri's like dominating this game on the ground. There is a world where they do just enough on the ground to where they balance out field position. Like last week, I think Bama started 8 or 9 drives inside their 20. So Oklahoma just tilted the field on them all day, and they eventually made them pay for it with a loss. Missouri can do that kind of stuff. Like Missouri is very frustrating. They're top 20 pass and run defense. And Oklahoma's like bottom half to bottom 2/3 of the country in every major offensive statistic. So if you're wondering how this game could be a game towards the end, it's because it could be like a 16-12 type game in the fourth quarter to where like one ball batted up in the air and taken to the house is the difference. You can't predict that kind of stuff. How do you predict a punt return or a muffed punt or like OU punching a ball out on Ryan Williams last week? That's how I think this game comes down. So in a game that's really compacted like that, like I looked at some of these, they're both in the 80s in turnover margin. They're both top 20 in third down defense. They're both top 15 in sacks. Those are the factors that will probably change the game, and there's no statistical edge there. I think OU's way better at field position than Missouri is. So the way I looked at this is I would take Oklahoma if we were picking the winner. Anything above a touchdown, I would take the underdog in the points. So I think it's going to surprise some people the way this game plays out and how competitive Missouri is, relatively speaking, in it. So I'll take Missouri plus the points. Don't feel great about them winning the game, though.
Mizzou could, they're in the mode where they can ruin somebody's season.
Sure.
Still playing for a lot of ball. And just to add to your, because that was well said about their top 20 in pass defense, top 15 in run defense. In sack percentage, they're third. And when I look back and seen kind of the running quarterbacks that Mizzou's played, Pavi only had 27 on the ground. Yes. Daniels from Kansas only had 25 on the ground. Jackson Arnold only had 14 yards on the ground from 17 attempts. I like Mizzou here. Willie boy, I went in there Sunday when the line came out. It was 8.5. I got it at plus 8.5. I'm still taking them plus 7.5. I like Mizzou here to cover. I still think Oklahoma wins just because, again, it's hard to kind of quantify what special teams and turnovers does in a game. Being able to flip the field and control the line of scrimmage. And Mateer, he's only thrown for one 200-yard plus game since the Red River rivalry. And I just think Mizzou's going to do well as far as getting after the passer, going back and forth defensively with them. Zollers, he will not be able to, win through the air whatsoever.
Is he going to throw for over 100?
He might have a stat line of 103.
Yeah.
103, 12 for 15.
One explosive play.
Play that they need. They're guess and run here. Maybe they pop for a play action or a screen that takes
probably
them,
a fullback.
Catching them in a zero blitz or something like that. But yeah, I got Mizzou keeping it close. Mizzou could upset them, but I'm going to take them with the points.
This is an 11 a.m. kickoff. It's the same time window as last week's South Carolina A&M game. Just if anyone is ready to be surprised by an early kickoff, don't get surprised by this stuff.
So you're saying Mizzou could go up 33 by halftime?
No one would let happen to them what South Carolina let happen to them. He's not even making eye contact with me.
He said,
he won't even
look.
He won't even look.
I mean, that was the hardest.
I felt so bad. I rarely text the prayer hand emojis, but I texted them.
Did you? At what point did you send the prayer hand emojis? After the game or before the game ended?
Long after the game ended.
Okay.
Because what's your phone like?
I texted JP with 7 minutes left in the fourth.
11.
Do you still have unopened text? Yeah, I figured. Shane Beamer too. Yeah.
A lot of man, I'm so
Man, I'm
sorry.
so sorry.
Yeah.
All right, so Missouri, Oklahoma.
Separation Saturday Part 1.
Separation Saturday, part 5.
Here we go. Now I know that you're 2 and 3 every single week. I just got to find myself on the side of your 2.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You're trying to find the 40% here. That's what you're trying to do.
Right. The issue is okay, I've gone opposite of you once, and that's the first game. So I really need to be smart about where I go.
A lot of ball left in this
show. A lot of ball left in this show.
I don't know how you guys feel. Like, obviously 3 and 2. Like, if you're sitting around 500, 3 and 2 is always like just a good.
It's a good feel.
It's a good record if everybody else is 2 and 3. But nothing just gets me. Like, to me, even if I was 3 and 2, like, I want to see the 4 and 1. To me, 4 and 1 is like domination or above. I feel like undefeated is
3 and 2
is way
like,
too rare
3
and
and 2
hard
is
to
like,
chase.
all right, yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
But it's nothing to call home about.
You're kind of sitting back like, oh, at least I got the winning percentage on
Right.
everybody. If anybody kind of talks shit, but the way you actually feel about yourself, you're like, man, I gotta get 4 and 1.
There's nothing to sit there and be like truly proud of that. 4 and 1, 5 and 0.
At this point, if I go 5 and 0, your first question is, what did you know?
Yeah. Has anybody gotten 5 and 0 this year?
No.
Has there been an 0 and 5? You had 1, didn't you?
Delaney, has Delaney been over in the NFL show? Did you get an over in
No.
college?
Oh yeah, you know what? I did go.
You had 1 over.
Over?
It was a Michigan USC day.
0 for 5 in week 7.
It was the Michigan USC day,
And
wasn't
it's
it?
been I've been above 500 ever since then, right?
2 and 3, 3 and 2, 1 and 4, 3 and 2.
So not quite, but
Oh,
yeah.
so I was doing real well.
Taylor
there,
throws
yeah.
up his finger.
So I've been
2 and
doing-
3,
I've been
3 and
doing
2,
really
1
good.
and
Oh
4.
shit, I guess not. Josh, why don't you take this one since I know nothing, Clump, about this game. Pitt at number 16, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's favored minus 2.5.
Yeah.
Total points in that game is 61.5. As an individual that has not looked in this game, and was it Narduzzi?
Mm-hmm.
His conversation, they could beat us by 100. The only games that matter are these next 2 games. This is one of the 2 games that he says these are all that matter. I hate that. I would lean Georgia Tech to cover that in this situation. Do you want to talk me off that ledge?
No, I feel like we're going to be on a ledge no matter what. I mean, you're either taking the guy who mailed in a game last week or you're taking a team that struggled to beat Boston College. Either way, it's bad. So we're looking for the least of the bad here. I have taken a completely different approach on this game. I could bring you numbers. I could have, written a little mind map like a psychopath, bunch of
Couple
highlighter.
paper poppers.
That's getting me 2 and 3 every week. So, I mean, I'm in the mode where I want to go favorite mascot, favorite uniform colors. Do you play on turf or grass? Just coin flip.
Yeah.
Because that's better than 2 and 3, as you know.
Yep.
I think there is a game out there for like Brent Key and Georgia Tech. They've just been like getting by. They've been like keeping their head above water. And I keep waiting for them to do like a poor man's version of what Georgia did last week. Georgia has been playing close games, and then all of a sudden they just like hulked up on Texas. And I keep waiting for Georgia Tech to do like the ACC's version of that. It's like a middle school kid who first started working out and he's flexing in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I mean, for a middle school kid, that looks good. That's kind of what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
You good? You're right.
I got to get this thing elevated a little bit. Keep it onward. Okay. I'm in hell.
Taylor's staring at you and he's doing his best to listen, but he's got a war is happening in his head.
There could be a whole clip made of my face just while you two are talking, just me being like,
And you didn't blink, and your eyes started to water. That's why I stopped.
I'm not okay, man. Like I think that I'm so not okay that I'm locking my seat in place.
Yeah, no, I know how you feel. Like I mildly strained my neck yesterday, so we're in the same
Dude,
boat.
how shitty is a little neck kink though?
It's bad.
Oof. But it ain't this.
Honestly, if we want to,
It ain't this.
we'd love to take 5 minutes of the show and talk about it. Like I'm not great either. Look at this. I'm not great either.
You look great.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. I'm taking Georgia Tech minus the points. I think they're gonna middle school flex.
All right.
Brent Key loves when you talk about him like that. Just a solid middle school gym mirror flex here. You're still a little lean. You haven't had the chance for your metabolism to slow down. You don't have a gut or anything, but you're just a little popcorn muscle flex here for Georgia Tech. That's the extent of my analysis on this game.
Yeah.
I'll take Pitt. For me, I guess anything I wanted to know is that Narduzzi, last week. Didn't matter to him. They were probably scripting practice plays for Georgia Tech because these games are all that matters. I'm taking Pitt because I want chaos in the ACC. I want to beat up on the ACC fans when Pitt beats Georgia Tech, and then we have all these multiple loss teams, and we can just sit here and I can yell from the top of the mountain that only Miami deserves to get in from the ACC. So I'm going with Pitt. I'm going with chaos, and I like Pitt against a Georgia Tech team who struggled against Boston College, who struggled against Wake Forest. Who's Georgia Tech lost to?
Georgia Tech has lost to
NC State.
State's one
NC
of
State.
them. Yeah.
NC State. We know NC State. They're 5-5. Like, what are we talking
doing?
about?
They've beaten Virginia and Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Those are two of their wins.
Yeah. Like,
What
this
are we
is.
doing here?
Yeah. I'm taking Pitt. I'm taking
Okay,
Pitt.
so Georgia Tech -2.5 Georgia Tech, Pitt money line.
Pitt plus 2.5.
That's what I've heard. Pitt money line.
Pitt plus 2.5.
Okay, so you want chaos, but not that bad.
Yeah. Listen. Pitt plus 2.5. You know what? Fuck it. Go ahead. You can talk me into that.
No.
That's
What
what
you need to do
Yeah.
here.
No.
Yeah.
Pitt money line.
that actually-
Pitt money line.
I just baited Will into that. It worked, but that's why Pitt's going to win this game.
Yeah.
That is
You
the-
did, and I knew the bait was out there, but I just grabbed the bait, and I
fuck
just,
it, dude.
I just
Yank
jumped
that
into,
motherfucker
I
down.
jumped into your boat, and I said, "Cut me the fuck open, dude. This is exactly what I want."
Let me tell you who that doesn't work on is Pat Narduzzi. You're telling me this isn't a must-win? That's exactly what I'm telling you.
Dude,
Yeah,
that
You
was
don't,
my-
you don't want this one? Not all that much.
Yeah, beat us by 100.
not
I don't
that
give a
bad.
shit. We're focused on Georgia Tech.
was that not the easiest bet of the week last week?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I didn't
And
make
just,
it, but
just
yeah.
that, like, the fact that he's talking so big, and if they really are scripting Georgia Tech plays, I hope they lose by multiple.
It may be
touchdowns.
like
I hope they do.
24-0 at halftime.
Because what he's doing is essentially was your fear when they went to a 12-game playoff.
Mockery of the game.
The mockery of the game.
Yeah.
Every game in college football is a must-win. And he made a mockery of you and your stance. And for that reason, I got to stand with my boys. I'm a foxhole guy.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Tech. Pitt money line.
I'm just laughing because Pate's like, "Yeah, I didn't bet it," and I'm just thinking of some
Free
of the
money. Not for me.
Yeah. For everybody else, though.
some of the bets I made over the weekend. Like I didn't bet on. I took my unit from Broncos Chiefs and I doubled down on Detroit. I took Detroit money line. Then I also took another side quest bet of Detroit minus 9.5, just for they're going to win by double digits. So I'm just sitting there like, God damn it, got gutted against the Eagles.
The Eagles, man. We're also brought to you by Form Energy. Form Energy delivers best-in-class taste with natural flavors and zero sugar. Form Energy has natural caffeine derived from green tea. Form comes in a variety of flavors. Screaming Freedom, which is Rocket Pop inspired. Grape Smash, Blue Blitz, Orange Fury. It's perfect for those who put in the work. Form Energy. We do the work. This next game is number 20 Tennessee at the Swamp at Florida. I would love to hear from our number one Florida fan, Jeremy Klump, on his views in this game. And then quickly after that, we'll turn to Jack McPherson.
I'll go quick. This is Florida money line all day to show Lane Kiffin that it's time to come home and come to Florida. Florida money line.
Okay. Florida recently lost.
Jack,
to Ole
Tennessee
Miss.
at the Swamp. Eerie time.
The last time the Vols beat the Gators in the Swamp, the iPhone did not exist. Nick Saban had never coached a game in Alabama. Facebook was still strictly for college kids. But the one thing that separates this game is that Florida now has the worst possible fan that has tagged along, Jeremy Klump. I truly think Jeremy Klump will be the fall and demise of the Florida Gators. But it's a really scary one. Vols struggle in the Swamp historically. So I just hope to God that we can get out of there alive. But I do think Klump's going to truly fuck them over. So, yeah. Go
Onward.
Vols.
I was
Go
ready
Vols.
for Jack to hang with a banger there. He had me locked in on everything he was saying.
I mean, he did.
So I hope to God we get out of there surviving.
Yeah. That is interesting. They haven't won a game in the Swamp since before the iPhone. 2003, the last time Tennessee won in the Swamp. They play every year?
He just looked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly, I have no idea where to go. I want to say this whole streak is going to get broken with Tennessee, but Florida just weirdly pops up
Out of nowhere.
out of nowhere at the most random times. The times where it's like, oh, they're a wounded animal. I love wounded animals. Oh, they're dead. I love dead animals. Now it's like, okay, they're officially
love dead
dead.
animals. It's
I'm going to
crazy.
get off of it because they're officially dead. Then they win.
Yeah.
Then they pop one. They keep it close against Georgia. I have no clue what to. DJ Lagway, he gets benched. He comes out. He has a game. I don't know.
The beautiful thing about these, first off, did you make a pick?
No.
No, you did not make a pick.
I'll make a pick. I'm going Tennessee minus 3.5. We got to understand, like, we live in Nashville, Tennessee. A lot of fans here. I know there's more Vanderbilt fans popping up now, but for the most part, it's Tennessee. At some point, you got to be getting the foxhole with these guys and just say enough is enough. I think Jeremy Klump and his fandom, the way he's gone about his fandom is enough to finally change all of that. This whole year, we've kind of waited. Like, we've wanted Tennessee to get one, Alabama, Oklahoma. Like, we're just like, hey, we gotta get one. And this is the one, dude. This is the one that's going to happen. Florida going against a bad Tennessee secondary, but DJ Lagway, he's as inconsistent as they come. So I'm gonna go with Tennessee. Tennessee has a very unique, great defensive game through the air. They have a unique, great defensive game. So I'm gonna take Tennessee. This is gonna be a big win for them. The talk about Heupel possibly should be gone in Tennessee is so blasphemous to me.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy, especially the world we're living in right now.
Now, allegedly, it hasn't really been said. That's what the message board's telling me.
Allegedly, it hasn't.
It
been
hasn't
said,
really been said. I imagined reading that in my email inbox. I
Really?
imagined that.
And people are. But have you heard a whisper at all?
I've heard more than whispers. Yeah.
Wow. But it has not been said.
It's been said by psychos. I'm just saying psychos exist. Like
Psychos
those,
exist, yeah.
it's not, it is a minority of the fan base,
Yeah.
but it's not a 1%. It's not a 1%,
Yeah.
maybe like a 5%.
This is
Do you
the
think
game
more
without
middle of
1%.
America, rational brains start to think about or start to get involved in that conversation if they lose to Florida?
Could lose to Vandy the next week too. Yeah, this is an important stretch for them.
Extremely.
Yeah.
I mean, these next two games, they haven't won the Swamp since 2003. Then they got to go play Vandy, who's hot to trot right now,
And still in the playoff picture.
and still in the playoff picture. Yeah, I'm gonna go Tennessee. Makes the next week that much better. Makes that much more exciting. I'm gonna go Tennessee minus 3.5.
If you're out of the playoff race, which Tennessee is, there's always the risk of, your players mailing the season. I'm not saying this is a Tennessee problem. This is like a college football problem. The reason I love them to stay dialed in is because if I'm out of the playoff picture, it's so great for me that I've got 2 rivalry games as my last 2 games, because that's the best shot I've got of keeping my locker room dialed in. Like, we're not going to make the playoff. We could go down to Florida and do something no Tennessee team has done in over 2 decades, and then we could just clown stomp our little in-state neighbor over in Nashville and knock them out of the playoff. That's a lot of reason to stay bought in. I think that's going to work. I think Heupel's a really good coach. I think they're going to go down there, and the old version of me, the 2-3 version of me, would have picked Florida here. 2-3 version of me overthinks the room, hadn't won down there, and you're giving me 3.5 points. I can even lose last second field goal. I could lose like Tennessee did to Georgia. I could lose and still cover. Nope, we're gonna win by 7 or more. So give me Tennessee to win, Tennessee to cover.
I'll jump in with you guys. GBO minus 3.5. Klump hate week.
Klump hate week.
Klump hate week.
Klump hate week. Oh, Klump, caring about me. Go to the hospital. You might be septic.
You might be septic.
You
I want
might
to save
be
your
septic.
life.
I care about you. You're a good person. Whatever, dude. Eat shit, dude. Tennessee's beating your ass this week.
We got BYU ranked 11 in the country going out to Cincinnati. BYU favored by 2.5. The over-under on this game is 54.5. Does Cincinnati have a shot?
Cincinnati's
Kind of
last two
derail
games.
BYU season. The
Last
last 2
game,
games has
they
been
played,
bad.
They played Arizona, lost that game. BYU played Arizona, BYU beat them. And then they got destroyed by Utah. Was it 41-14?
It was ugly.
It was ugly.
Yep.
Ugly.
Yeah, dude. Ben Sorsby wasn't looking good. neither.
Wasn't looking good.
I think his name's Brendan, but it's Ben now.
I just think BYU is a
Sorsby
more
now.
consistent team. They got their ass beat by Texas Tech. I think they want to get their ass beat again by Texas
Absolutely
Tech.
they
By making
do.
the Big 12. So I'm gonna go BYU minus 2.5. They have more to play for. Say what you want about American Primeval. That's a well-coached team. They don't make a whole lot of mistakes. Cincinnati is, very flashy at times. Sorsby, very flashy at times. But I like BYU minus 2.5 here.
I'm taking the over 54.5. I'm looking points. Primetime game. A lot on the line. Yeah, my boy Ben Sorsby, he's been kind of rattled the last 2 weeks. I'll see a get-back game here because he went on a run there. He was, over 2,000, a billion touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'm saying he gets back to that form a little bit, just enough to get the over. I do think BYU wins this game. I like offense. Night game in Cincinnati.
The old me rides with you, not on the total, but on Cincinnati. The old me thinks, all right, so you've disappointed. This is a double do-up spot in gambling terms. Brigham Young's always been a little overrated, point spreads versus what they're ranked. But you know what the model did this week for the first time? The model, the JP poll, introduced Brigham Young at number 17. Wow. They haven't been in the model all year. They haven't been in the JP poll all year. I just think, say what you want about American Primeval. This is a hard-nosed squad.
Yeah.
It's tough to sell on them. And so, old me, 2 and 3 me is going Cincinnati. But the new me, the 4-1 this week version of me, perhaps 5-0, is going to go Brigham Young, lay the points on the road, dangerous spot, prime time in Cincinnati. I mean, it was the last team that won a primetime game in Cincinnati's home stadium. Don't know.
No.
We don't. Has it ever happened? We don't know. It's going to happen this week, though.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
No one loves BYU football like I do. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's well documented.
Say what you want about American Primeval. Good ball club.
What kind of look in the mirror do you feel like your model did to get on board with BYU?
I think last week was the most impressive game they've had all year. They beat Utah, but I'm not making excuses here. I'm saying from a predictive standpoint, like from a modeling standpoint, when you're +2 in the turnover battle, a predictive model looks at that and says, good for you. That's not necessarily the best indication you're going to duplicate that moving forward. But then they went to Iowa State. I think they were like +4 turnovers, +3 turnovers. A predictive model still looks at that. This is why BYU fans get so mad at the modeling crowd, because BYU is so good at winning games and winning the turnover battle, and yet the predictive modeling and the point spread crowd, they don't fully respect it. Last week, they got TCU in their home building. The line was 3.5, and they just smoked them. There was nothing fluky about it. I'm not saying the other results were fluky. I'm saying even from a predictive standpoint, they just took TCU and vice-gripped them. So last week's result from a modeling standpoint was actually the most authentic, true, dominant performance that a computer will have seen them have all year. That's why all of a sudden, like they're in top 7, number 17, and they go on the road here and they're still favored. Like people look at this and think it's a small point spread. A couple of weeks ago, BYU was projected to be a point spread underdog in this game at Cincinnati. So things have changed in the last couple of weeks.
New flavor at BYU right now.
And you say what you want about American Primeval. It's not easy to go on the road and win in the Big 12.
Yeah.
And they've done it.
Yeah. I'm 1-2 betting against BYU. This is the first time I bet for BYU. I'm excited to see how it turns out. I'm excited to see how it all turns out.
We got a True Classic Game of the Week. Every Saturday's got games, but only one fits just right. This is True Classic's Game of the Week. This True Classic Game of the Week is brought to us by True Classic. The new Curve Pima shirts are incredible. Keeps it loose, also keeps it tight up here in the shoulders and the chest. You look good, you feel good, you play good. You can find True Classic at Amazon, Costco, Sam's Club, and Target nationwide or online at trueclassic.com/Bussin. Christmas season's coming up. That's the first time, 2 years ago, I came across True Classic. I spent about $800 on the site to shop for my brothers and my dad, and that's how we got hooked up with True Classic. Look good, feel good, play good. Let's get to the game of the week. USC at Oregon, going out to Eugene, Oregon. Lincoln Riley versus Dan Lanning. Oregon's favored in this game by 9.5. The over-under on this game, the total in points, is 59.5. Our boy Dan Lanning's in another big one, fellas.
Another big one. Josh?
I don't want to start.
You don't want to
I
start?
want to defer.
Okay.
Can I defer?
You can defer.
Do you want to go or you want me to go?
I mean, we know. I feel like we know where we're going.
Where are you going?
Oregon.
To cover?
Yeah, of course. Like I'm riding with the Oregon Ducks.
I'm going USC plus 9.5.
Oh.
No.
I think Oregon wins this game. I think
So we don't even need to talk. There is no messaging out there of the shit talking for Dan Lanning. It's happening right now.
right here.
It's not happening. It's like what have we done to get to this point? Northwestern, we picked them to cover, they didn't cover. Indiana, we picked them to cover, they lost.
Yeah.
Iowa, we picked them to cover, they didn't cover. So for me, I think Oregon, the most surprising thing to me was when I'm looking up stats last night is seeing them as far as like yards per attempt when it comes to the rush, like 6.7 or something like that. They are like top 3. Jesus Christ, these guys with the 6-7. I think USC, Jordan Mailata, left tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles, he won't be playing that game, but Jaden Maiava, he will be playing in this game. I think those 2 wide receivers, they're explosive enough and they handle business enough to keep this game within 1 score. I believe the Ducks win this game, but I'm going to take USC plus 9.5. Both these teams are sitting in a have to have a situation.
Yeah, because there's
especially USC.
a lot of the college football world saying if Oregon drops this game, they could be out of the college football
Right.
playoff
Yeah.
as a 2-loss Big Ten team.
And Dan knows that no one's going to have their team more prepared than Dan Lanning. I think USC.
Well, I think you're saying he'll have them prepared enough, but not to cover.
Oh yeah, he'll have them prepared enough. I mean, this whole year has been Oregon almost covering for us. We've done 13 shows on college football, and I think they've been a part of the show 6 or 7 times.
Yep.
However, I think they've only covered 1 or 2 of those.
You have a question mark with Dan and covering for us.
I have a question mark with Dan covering for us, and it's not me hating; it's the proof's in the pudding. Like I have.
You are what you are.
You are what
Your
you
record
are.
against the spread
And
with
we're-
us, you are what you
we're
are.
Week 13. Like you expect me for you to be different. Now I would love to be wrong in the situation. We're streaming the game this Saturday. We're having a nice little breakfast stream on Saturday. You're more than well. You're traveling. Breakfast stream. I will be rooting for Oregon if they cover 9.5. I'm happy to have that as my one when I go 4-1 this week. When we go 4-1 this week.
Right.
But I'm taking USC to keep this game close. This game is extremely important to both teams. Like win or go home type of situation for both these teams. And I think it's close. I think it's exciting. I think Oregon Ducks come out with it, but I think it's close.
Do you know what this is?
That's a piece of paper.
We got some
piece of
paper
paper.
poppers.
Do you think this paper tells the truth, or do you think it's lying? Let me tell you what the paper says. It's unfair for me to force you to answer
Right.
before I tell you. Oregon's got the number 1 pass defense in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Is it lying or is it telling the truth? Because last week Pitt had the number 3 run defense in the country and it was lying.
Right.
So is this paper lying or is it telling the truth?
I'm trying to rattle through everybody that they've played. It could be more of a fluff
It's
stat.
lying.
That to me, when you say number 1 pass defense in the country, that reminds me of Nebraska going to the big game play when we played some, I was going to say some ducks, but some duds.
Could I give you some context? 5 of the 7 Power 4 offenses Oregon has faced have been 100th or worse in pass offense. Paper could be lying.
Paper could be lying.
If it's lying, I got a kid by the name of Lemon. I got a kid by the name of Lane who could come in there and do everything that Surratt and Cooper did. You said no one prepares their team better than Dan Lanning. Kurt Cignetti did. They went into Autzen and handled them pretty thoroughly.
Oh wow,
Let me stop you for a
is
second.
all Dan
Hey,
Lanning
hey,
fodder
hold on,
right
hold
here.
on. You know Dan watches this show. And the tone you're having right now about our boy, strong.
Hey, keep going.
Here's the problem. The problem is it's not going to rain in this game. So something's got to get him dialed in. I'm a guest of his this weekend. Okay, I will be there Friday. I will be there Saturday. This is nothing I won't say to his face. But they got their pants undone, just yanked down against Indiana in Autzen Stadium. It's not supposed to happen. Has anyone ever won in Autzen Stadium? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think it's the first home loss they've ever had.
Yeah.
Problem is, Surratt and Cooper went in there and had 15 catches for 179 and a score. Begs the question, aren't they facing a better wide receiver combo this week than Indiana had? But the follow-up, this is where, like, Dan understands you got to tear him down to build him back up. He understands that more so than anybody.
Absolutely.
The follow-up to that is, we've watched USC go on the road this year. We watched him go on the road against Illinois, and Illinois ran it for a hefty amount, 171. We watched USC go on the road against Notre Dame. Notre Dame handled them. USC went to Nebraska and won, but what was the situation before Dylan Raiola went down?
Nebraska was on top. You know Dan Lanning's in there right now watching that Nebraska defense. Listen, don't get gashed in the run like we got gashed in the run. But to kind of shut down the passing attack, Iowa held them to under 30. I said that USC was going to score 40.
Oregon last year went wire to wire, number 1 seed, and they end up getting the first round bye. It didn't matter. They got smashed in the playoffs. And Ohio State, conversely, peaked at the end of the year and won it all. And I've said to you guys for like 6 weeks in a row, Oregon, yeah, they look flawed, but they keep winning. People are a little critical of them. We've been mildly critical at times, but I keep saying you don't give up on a team like that. Just like Georgia, you don't give up on a team that's got that much roster talent, because if they rev the engine at the right time, you see the best version of them at the right time. Georgia just did this against Texas. I got a strong suspicion that Oregon's about to do this against USC and against Washington, and then they go into the postseason and do whatever they're going to do. But it's the ground game combined with maybe getting healthy at wide receiver at the right time. Keep an eye on the wide receiver health at Oregon, and the inability to scale on the road like USC has at home, I think Oregon's going to win and cover. No repeat of the Indiana game here. And it was my fault because I wasn't there for the Indiana game. But we will not make the same mistake twice. Looks like partly cloudy to mostly cloudy. We're not looking at rain gear. We're just looking at just normal, good old-fashioned, let's wake up at 3 a.m., let's pound 7 Red Bulls, and let's go get a win against the Trojans. That's the style of game.
What are you wearing for this game?
I don't know yet.
Like, are we gonna get a
Is
full
it
cotton? Are you
is
gonna
it
dump? Are
cotton?
you gonna dump a bucket of water on you before the game?
I did plan on, in a show of solidarity, wearing cotton, wearing something that's absorbent if it were going to rain. As it stands now, Kenny Farr, you guys know Kenny. The
We
equipment
know
guy,
Kenny. Love
We
Kenny.
love Kenny.
friend of the program. As it stands now, what I like to do is I like to go to Oregon on a Friday, walk in like a straight up hobo, wearing tattered clothes, because he'll give you a new wardrobe. And so he will probably decide what I wear on Saturday.
I love that.
Yeah.
Basically, what this show is saying about the Oregon Ducks, if Dan Lanning happens to be watching, but when is Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks going to wake the fuck up and earn their right to be in this college football playoff? People are saying that if they drop this game, they're out of the college football playoff. Like, they will be squeezed out based on their schedule. People out there talking the Iowa win meant nothing when they were ranked. When they beat Penn State and they were top 5, it meant nothing.
Think about this. This game is Alabama-Oklahoma. Last week, Oklahoma goes to Tuscaloosa. Bama's ranked kind of sort of where Oregon is. Oklahoma was ranked kind of sort of where USC is right now. That was a close game. Oklahoma didn't blow them out. That was a close game. Bama dropped 7 spots from like 3 to 10. If we get a duplicate of that drop, Oregon drops out of the playoff bubble if they lose this game, with no guarantee that they can jump back in. So I think what the show is trying to say, if I'm hearing you correctly, is we believe in Oregon. We believe in Dan Lanning, but don't embarrass us. Yeah.
Don't embarrass us.
Don't embarrass us.
Don't embarrass us.
Great show.
So show's not
Great
over.
show.
Dogs of the week. I'm going to take Mississippi State plus 9.5 versus Ole Miss. A lot of conversation about Lane Kiffin. He goes on Pat McAfee show yesterday. There's a whole thing about, hey, where are you going to go? Where are you not going to go? He kind of dodges and moves around.
Yeah, hey,
the
one
question.
thing we know about that interview, that was fully authentic. There was nothing performative at all about that.
100%.
Yeah,
That's what they do over there.
absolutely.
But I'll take Mississippi State plus 9.5. William?
Dogs of the week. Nebraska was double-digit underdogs going into Happy Valley and Penn State. Now they're 9.5-point underdogs. Nebraska. That is my dog of the week.
Okay.
TJ Lateef coming off a bye week, going into Happy Valley. Nebraska.
Now I know that there were cameras in your faces before this show started. Dylan Raiola, his brother, decommitted to Nebraska. Now a lot of Nebraska fans are saying he wouldn't have played there anyway. Does that say anything for maybe a Dylan Raiola leaving Nebraska, or is that not even worth talking about?
I have no clue. I don't have a whole lot of information on the situation at hand, so I have no comment.
Okay.
I have no comment until I learn, until I furthermore learn about the situation.
Biggest mistake you can make is just saying shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I've always respected about you is you really keep yourself at an arm's length from Nebraska football.
Yeah.
You really don't involve yourself much.
Will does a great job of not making it about him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, when I came in and the paparazzi, everybody was in my face, I'm learning about it. I was learning about that for the first time. So I have no clue. If it's not Dylan Raiola's brother and it's just Dayton Raiola and he decommits from Nebraska, I'm thinking the old boy he's watching TJ Lateef play, like that'll eventually be the future when Dylan Raiola's gone. Like when Dylan Raiola wins us a national title with the Huskers and then goes on to the NFL. It's going to be TJ Lateef's team. Dayton seems like a ball player, a baller who could be a starter somewhere. Maybe he doesn't want to compete. I have no clue. Again, I don't know a whole lot about the situation.
And the more we
at
talk
hand.
about it, the more we dig ourselves a hole.
I don't think we're digging ourselves in a hole. I'm just trying to compartmentalize and separate it and be like, yeah, look, it seems like he decommitted. You can't trust anything these commits are saying these days.
These kids
Right
just-
now, Nebraska's got like a top 5 recruiting class in the country for 2027, but I'm not buying any of that stock because we're a couple years away.
Literally.
Yeah.
You just said Dayton Raiola doesn't like to compete.
That's why I said digging a
I
hole.
said maybe. Maybe he doesn't want to compete. I don't know.
A lot
Who's your dog of the week?
of G5 teams out there in need of a quarterback.
So you got Huskers money line?
Yeah, I'm personally going Huskers money line. But for dog of the week in the segment, I do have just for the people. But everybody knows that. Everybody knows Willie C's going money line. Unless if I'm going to ride with Willie C, I'll just get in the foxhole, but with 9.5 points.
Model loves Penn State this week. I'm going Rice plus 18.5 against North Texas.
Nice.
Yeah, don't lose to Food is one of the big rules in college football.
Absolutely.
But if Food is an 18.5 point dog, you can beat them, therefore not losing to Food, but still not cover. North Texas, Eric Morris is up for big jobs right now. I've just been making bank betting against coaches that are involved in coaching searches. That continues here. Rice plus 18.5. You have something to say.
If you're going to shoot me in the face, I want you to look at me when you do it. I don't
wanna
want you
be
to
right.
say a jab, and I want you to just stare at him
Look.
the whole time while I'm sitting here bleeding.
I could have put it there, but I didn't. I could have put Penn State on this sheet, but I didn't.
You should have.
I did that for you. I don't want to dig us a hole.
You just did.
You know what's fucked up? Is you said, I did this for you, the parlay. I could have done, I didn't do this for you, but 2 weeks ago against Purdue, you did that to me.
Remind me who covered in that game.
Purdue. But we're talking about respect. We're talking about, I'm not going to do this to you, Will. And I'm sitting there like, whoa, shit, 14 days ago, he did that to me.
But what you're not telling the folks is last week I walked in the building and you were talking about Northwestern and I said Northwestern's covering. Michigan's going to win.
Yeah.
Northwestern's going to cover.
What do you
this
think's going to
week.
happen this week against Maryland?
No. I think you're going to run it up on Maryland. No, it's different this weekend.
Oh, really? Because I'm ready to sit there and be like, hey, I think Maryland's going to
I was going to say,
Yeah.
Michigan wins. I like, what
Yeah,
are they
at
giving?
this
What are they
point,
giving us?
I don't think Michigan's
13 and a
ever
half points?
covered. I don't think Michigan's covered this entire year.
No, this week they're going to cover.
Just wait till we get to our final bite segment,
Yep.
dude. I got something for that.
Michigan's going to play like Michigan, and then it's Ohio State week.
And then it's Ohio State.
Yeah, then it's a completely
Michigan
different ball
is
club.
sleepwalking. Do you know how many teams since 1940 have won a football game being -5 in turnovers?
Was SMU one of them against Duke last year?
No, they weren't because they zero.
Zero?
Teams. Zero.
Minus
teams.
5?
-5.
Wow. You can't wait to check
I just remember SMU had some crazy game last
Yeah,
week or last
exactly
year.
-5. Maybe they had -6, but at -5.
Oh, exactly
Maybe
minus
most
5.
teams could have been minus
No
6.
team has
Exactly
won.
minus 5.
No team has won in college football. What's up, Clay? We're going to up this episode to let you know, Bussin With The Boys. If you don't already know, the boys have a profit boost token available every college football Saturday. That's a profit boost on any college football Saturday bet. Just open up the FanDuel Sportsbook app this Saturday and look for the Bussin With The Boys PBT. Okay, parlay. I got James Madison -13.5 versus Washington State. We know JMU watches the show.
Yes,
we know they
absolutely.
watch Bussin With The Boys. I disrespected them this week being a G5 team, saying if you have one loss, which they do have, you should not be in the playoffs. They're playing a bigger school.
And
I think they
they're-
cover it in a big way.
2 touchdown favorite over the
Yeah.
bigger school.
And then their argument is, you saw Washington State, what they did to Ole Miss, what they almost did to Ole Miss,
Close.
this close. 2 touchdowns, I'm taking them.
Washington -10.5 at UCLA.
Wasn't it fun to root for UCLA for a little bit?
For a couple weeks,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was
What were
fun.
they, 3-0 with the?
They were undefeated.
when they made the change.
They were
Yeah.
undefeated.
Had a good little run there.
Had a good run, fun run.
Fun run.
Great
In
for college
fact,
ball.
for 1 or 2 weeks, the sentence, you don't want to play UCLA right now, was uttered.
Yeah.
Not on this show per se, but it was uttered. I would like to take Western Kentucky plus 22.5 at LSU for the same reason I like Tennessee against Florida. I will gladly bet you if you're walking into someone's backyard where the main focal point of conversation is who's going to coach that team next year. The entire purpose of Tiger Stadium Saturday is for people to gather together and talk about who their head coach is going to be.
Yeah.
They don't even care
a
about
therapy
Western
session.
Kentucky. Yes. So I'll take WKU plus 22.5.
WKU.
All right, now we have our final bite segment. This final segment is sponsored by McDonald's. Bold prediction, hot take, storyline flying under the radar that gives fans something to keep in mind before finishing their week and tuning in to kickoff. All right, before this final bite segment, this episode of The Locker Room is brought to us by McDonald's all-new Buffalo Ranch Sauce. The new Buffalo Ranch Sauce has arrived, and it pairs perfectly with your snack wrap McCrispy sandwich and McCrispy strips. It's got the zingy tang of buffalo with the creamy cool of mild ranch. It's mild and wild at the same time, and it's a sauce that balances itself and complements our crispy chicken, which is my favorite, the crispy chicken.
It is delicious.
There's a new sauce in town at McDonald's, tangy, creamy buffalo ranch. Order now, available for a limited time at participating McDonald's while supplies last. Let's get to the final bite. You gotta have something that's just under the radar right now, something that's under the table. A grenade per se.
Not a grenade per se. Here's what I think. I think if I were a coach right now, if I were Eli Drinkwitz, if I were Lane Kiffin, if I were John Summerall, any of these guys who were up for a head coaching job elsewhere, there's no way I would stand in there and let people criticize me right now. If I were an athletic director, I would not take a second of criticism, because I would say it's not my fault that our calendar looks the way it does. I'm not the one who made signing day the first week of December and the portal window open early January and not able to rework the academic calendar where we couldn't put signing day in February and the portal opens after the national championship game. Because if that changed, not everyone would be in a hurry to fire coaches and rehire them in late November right now. So someone came and made the mess and then they walked away. Like someone threw you in the pool and now you're getting criticized for being wet. That's not Lane Kiffin's fault. Like, you don't have to like Lane Kiffin. You don't have to like John Summerall or Eli Drinkwitz. I don't care what you think about them, but those guys are getting criticized for being put in an absolute no-win position. Like, unless you plan on staying at one program your entire life, and for everyone out there who says you should, don't ever tell me that if you've changed jobs. If you've taken an advancement opportunity, don't ever criticize someone else for at least listening to the opportunity or at least listening to the pitch. So right now, these guys are getting criticized. The agencies do a woeful job of PR and crisis management training. Like, I would love to insert myself and just say, here's what you ought to say. Don't stand there and take this. That's a reporter from Topeka, and he's throwing grenades at you because he never has to show his face, and he understands that, like, you know, the clapping seals of his readership are going to lap it up. Don't stand there and take that. You're not the one who made the calendar the way it is. So I don't know if that qualifies as an extra bite, but that's where I am.
That's a great bite. I'm going to say
That's a great bite. TJ Lateef does what?
250.
250 total or passing?
250 passing.
250 passing.
250 passing.
Yeah, I'll go.
No. Emmett Johnson over 200 yards on the ground.
Ooh.
Are both going to happen?
Do both.
Emmett Johnson over 200 yards on the ground, and I'll say TJ Lateef over 200 yards through the air. Because if Emmett Johnson's going to eat, he's not going to have as many opportunities to throw the ball around.
This is on the road at Penn State.
On the road at Penn State, Nebraska upsets Penn State in Happy Valley. Which
Could you imagine?
to me, it doesn't feel like an upset. Has Penn State won a conference game yet? I don't think they have.
I'm sure they've won a conference game somewhere.
But did they win last week?
Yeah, they beat Michigan State last
Oh,
week.
they beat Michigan State last. There you go. They're 1 whatever. Like this.
But you guys also beat Michigan State, so it's like
That's right.
Yeah, we're 7-3. Penn State.
Northwestern beat Penn State. You beat Northwestern.
Yeah, I don't see how we're
property
double-digit
theory.
underdogs.
Yeah, me either.
But you're right. Like tomato.
Yeah.
TJ Lateef 200. Emmett Johnson 200.
Final bite. I'll stay with my alma mater as well, like you did. Jordan Marshall out against Maryland. Justice Hayes, he is now out for the entire season. Multiple guys hurt on defense. Bryce Underwood, if you just look at the stat line, you don't watch the entire game of Michigan, that was probably his best game he played aside from the 2 interceptions. Like, he had touch on the ball, was pushing it down the field. You can see him doing reads when he got into situations, he would run and gain the first down. Bryce Underwood throws for his first 300-yard game against Maryland this week, and they win the game through the air.
Wow, a lot of people seem to be doing it against Maryland.
Onward.
A lot of people.
So you think Michigan covers against Maryland?
Yeah.
I need that.
Yeah, it's like just rev the engine right before. FanDuel has the Ohio State Michigan line at 12.5, by the way. You can bet it.
You can bet it
right. Iron Bowl, Bama minus 5.5, terrifying. But the game, Ohio State minus 12.5.
That's huge. I mean, it was minus 20.5 last year.
But they're within reach. All you gotta do is grab them by the shirt collar, drag them in.
Minus 12.5. I do feel like it would have been longer.
Longer.
It was
Like
3 touchdowns
spread.
last year.
Michigan is a
spread.
much better team than they were last year. Ohio State may be the same. Maybe. They're better on defense. They're worse on offense. It balances each other out.
Not to start the game preview a week early.
Not
Right.
to start their game.
That being
preview.
said, Michigan money line. And we'll see if I have some Foxhole guys with me next week.
That you
We will see. You'll see it next week. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. Big hugs, tiny kisses.